welcome to SAN TV. I'm your host, Dr. Linda Thomas. I'm a lecturer in Health and Social Sciences at the University of Glasgow. Behind every white coat is a story of late nights, big dreams, and the quiet resilience it takes to become a doctor. In this special segment, The Med Journey, Behind the Books, we sit down with medical students from across the UK to hear the real stories behind the stethoscope. Whether you're an aspiring medic, a proud parent, or just curious about life on the other side of the hospital door, this is your inside look at the journey from lecture halls to hospital wards. Today on this episode, we have a very special guest, Bharath Chandran, who is a fifth-year medical student at the University of Edinburgh. Welcome to the show, Bharath.
Hi there, my name's Bharath Chandran Mukunda Das. I'm a fifth-year medical student at University of Edinburgh, and I'm excited to be here with Dr. Thomas.
Excellent. You can call me Linda. That's absolutely fine too. We don't need to have that level of formality.
No, cheers.
But can we maybe just start off a wee bit by the beginnings? Like, what inspired you to become a doctor?
Yeah, so this is a question that it's the age-old question. Why medicine? And it's a question that I've done a lot of thought about. My personal statements and my interviews and stuff. And I think for me, really, the crux of it is I love science. So me and my mum, we used to always do a lot of science questions there. We used to revise a lot of science. And science and maths are the only really things that have really stood out to me. And for a long time, I actually didn't want to do medicine, or I didn't know I wanted to do medicine. I wanted to actually do aeronautical engineering. And then, I don't know, I think somewhere around fourth or fifth year, something just changed. I don't know. I just felt like medicine. I looked into it a bit, and the opportunity to use science and to be able to help people and use it for that sort of good. It really just stood out to me. And my mum being a nurse and stuff, she'd always come home and tell me about some stories of patients and stuff. What's been going on. I was very curious, and I was like, what happened to this, and did you ask that, and things like that. I was quite curious and stuff in that aspect. So it just became the sort of focus from beyond, I think, fifth year. So it's just really about using the science and trying to apply it into helping people. That's the honest answer, and that might sound, as a very generic answer, but that's truthfully why I wanted to do it, and so that's why.
I mean, it's more than anything, it was your upbringing to a way that inspired you.
No, of course, yeah.
And would it be fair to say that it was your mom as well that was maybe the driving force in being interested in pursuing medicine to a certain degree?
No, so yeah, my mom and dad, to be fair, they're both very big influences on me, in the sense of they're very supportive of me. I wouldn't say that, medicine, it was something that was forced onto me. I would never say that. And I think for some people that can be the case, especially in the Asian community, you'll hear the stereotype, engineers or doctors and things like that. That's the only career path for you. And for me, it wasn't that. It was my own choice, and my parents sort of supported me in that sense, and really sort of pushed me and helped me both financially and emotionally as well. That's a key aspect. There's lots of times where I've been I'm doubting myself, and where times were hard and things, and they're always there for me. So I'm very grateful to be in the position that I'm in, and yeah, definitely. And with regards to so that's it. Yeah,
that's okay. We'll get into the trials and tribulations of the whole journey in a little bit.
No, definitely.
But if I can maybe take you back a little bit further again, because I know you're in year 5 now. If you just went slightly back to maybe day 1 of year 1, fresh undergraduate, just going in, freshers day, even before we get to freshers day, just kind of going into the first day. What was that like for you?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So going into the first day, well, this is, as you can imagine, it's quite nerve-wracking. So, I've been living at home my whole life, and then having to move to Edinburgh, it's just a complete change in just a complete change to my life, I wasn't very independent before, and then now I have to go into halls, have to make new friends, have to join new societies, start a course that I've not been given much information about, so I don't know how to really prepare for it. Moving into halls, cooking for myself, cleaning, these are all sort of you can sort of like, it's fun to think about now, but back then it was really quite a stressful thing.
Yeah.
How am I going to manage all this? And then, once you get into the swing of everything, I think after a while, it does become sort of, second nature, and you learn things about yourself that, you never would have thought, you'd be able to do, or you can even fathom. So, definitely, yeah, that's what I'd say for that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure there are a whole lot of like curious souls out there who are maybe thinking of what's it going to be like when I first go into the first day of uni starting. And you just mentioned like going to the hall, staying there. So when you were there, like for first year or the first couple of weeks when you started off, were everyone in your halls or where you were staying in your dorm, were they all like in your same year, or were they all from different kind of courses?
So yeah, that's the thing. So everyone was from like a different course. So I never had anyone from medicine with me in my hall. So I got a very different flavor of what everyone was doing. Everyone had their own courses, their own sort of deadlines, and what they were interested in. It was a very nice like mixed bag of things. I think that's nice in a way, because right now I'd say my life is very medicine oriented. Like the people I hang around with now tend to be more in the sort of like medicine side of things, just the way, because we're a longer degree, and once everyone graduates, you're kind of honed into that sort of life. So I'm quite glad I made some friends outside of medicine, get to share different experiences and stuff, other than just my medical friends. So it was very good. I really enjoyed it. But on the con side of things, you can't really talk about your course too much to them, because they might get bored, or they won't have the same sort of understanding to someone who's in medicine, that goes through what we go through and the stresses that we have and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons, but I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
Yeah, and by all means, like as time goes, like you quickly learn where to kind of close off the conversation, what's appropriate, what's not.
Oh, of course.
Exactly. That's just part of the whole process of like being an undergraduate the first year, just that beginning journey of the whole thing. Where everyone in your dorm in the first year or your halls, were they all first years, or did you have people from different years?
No, yeah, so we had postgraduates as well and things like that, and like the second or third degree. So yeah, definitely we got like a wide variety of people and a lot of like wide variety of life experiences. We had people, I had a couple of my hallmates, they were in their like late 20s, so they had a complete different outlook on life. But it's great. It just brought like a lot of people together that you wouldn't think that would work together. But being in such a positive environment and stuff, it's very good. And I'd say that it goes to anyone, like it's, if you're a bit apprehensive, with like meeting new people at halls and stuff. It is nerve-wracking. That is normal. And at first I was a bit shy and stuff, but as soon as you find, there's a couple of people that, you click with, and then eventually it starts becoming easier to, just find more people. It becomes less stressful. And you just sort of, you fit your way into uni life, essentially. You just transition. Some people that takes longer. For me, it took longer. Some people, it just happens, naturally like that. So it's not something to get stressed about. You will eventually, find, your friend group and, things like that. If that's a worry, because I know that's a worry for a lot of people starting university. All my friends are not going here. Like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to meet people? And I was during COVID times as well, so it was much harder for me to meet people during then. So because thankfully all that time's over now, so we can get back to the sort of normality of things. So it's
And then on top of that as well, like I know you said it was COVID times as well. Is it appropriate for me to ask, apart from COVID, what else maybe made it a bit more difficult for you to take it a bit more longer to kind of navigate through this process slightly? Was it like homesickness, or was it just...
I mean, homesickness definitely was. That was definitely a big factor. I think for any time you're moving out, if you've got like, your parents are, you're sort of like rocking your foundation, being away from that, it definitely makes you homesick. And there's a lot of things that I feel like, we take for granted with being at home. Just simple things like laundry or cooking. So it definitely makes you, feel like what your parents and stuff have done for you, and even people at home, family, friends, and family members. That sort of your network that you had. It naturally becomes harder to stay within that
Yeah.
because you're just purely because of distance.
Yes.
So yeah, but I think the most important thing is that you try
Mm-hmm.
to keep that link and keep the your strong relationships, and they're always there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know my parents and like my family friends and stuff are always there for me in times of like need and things like that. So it's good. It's yeah.
And if I step back, and I know we kind of already touched upon your
Yeah.
first day, but what was your parents' reaction when they found out that you got accepted into med school? What was that experience like as well at the same time?
Yeah, they were definitely happy. I remember opening up the appointment letter and saying, "Oh, you've got a space in this unis, these," and yeah, like I just felt like this massive weight just released off my shoulders, like because it's such a long process, and you're just constantly doing things, and the stress is there. There's always, I mean, I know people say you do it for yourself, but you're also in a way you're doing it for other people as well. You want to make them happy too, as well as yourself. The most important person is yourself, but you want to make other people happy too. So naturally you have like that pressure and weight on your shoulders, and so it was a nice relief, and parents were all happy, so it was a nice moment. It was a very special moment for me.
Was there any like advice from mentors or friends or like elders or something that's kind of stuck with you from that day one of you getting the acceptance and kind of going into first year? Is there anything kind of stuck with you since?
Oh yeah, so I've honestly, I'm so grateful for like the family friend network that I had. They gave me so much good advice. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one, but just things that have really helped me throughout the whole process, like how to like tackle the interview, how do you approach an interview, things like that, so you want to use all the skills that you've gained throughout your experience in high school, and you want to put them into like an armory, and then when the interview comes, you want to wield each weapon, so each skill that you have, and you want to use it. And you want to be able to like sort of reflect on that effectively. So in just everything that you've done, make sure you keep it in like this sort of like toolbox and take it out when required. So I think that was a very good piece of advice that stuck with me. Just organize everything that you've done, keep it in one spot, and be able to apply that when required. It was very good. And just things that just keep at it, because medicine is, if you don't practice, it's very difficult. You need to be able to practice, keep putting work into it, and you'll get rewarded for it. I'm oversimplifying it, but I think that's the core to it. You just need to put hard work in, and you'll get the payoff for it.
And definitely for like someone coming new into this,
No, of course.
it's quite a good analogy that you've used, like just using it as an armor, having it like your deck of cards to a certain degree, and then you take them out like you're fully shielded and ready to use different points, because you just don't know when the question is going to get asked, but you can relate to it from different ways.
No, yeah, exactly.
And do you remember, because I appreciate it's been several years now, how long was your interview and how many stages did you have to go through?
Yeah, so interview was, it depends on the university. So some universities still use sort of the panel interview, and most universities now use so it's the MMI interview, so the mini interviews. So you have sort of these individual stations. They can range from about 6 to 10 minutes, and they tackle various vast different topics. So some can be role-playing stations where you have to pretend you're in a scenario and you have to pretend to be someone like a doctor or like a friend, and you have to go about a certain scenario. Sometimes it will be just like a question like, why medicine? If you manage to get to the interview stage, that question is going to come up, why medicine? So it's an interviewer favorite. So yeah, things like that, things about your personal life, what skills you have, that can come up. You can get sort of ethical scenarios and things like that, so they test your sort of critical thinking in the moment. They can also ask you about your interests, what you've read, why do you want to do this, why are you keen, they want to gauge how interested you are in the subject. Yeah, so there's various things like that, and then obviously you got the more traditional style interview where it's like 10 minutes, there's like a panel of people, and you just have like having a sort of conversation with them, and they'll cover various aspects during those like 10 or 20 minutes. So that's the main gist of the interviews. And I'd say with interviews they are a nerve-wracking thing. You know, I don't think anyone really likes interviews, being under I mean, some people might, but I think most people, they get a bit nervous when it comes to interviews and stuff. I think the main thing really is with interviews that I found that helped me was just to practice again. Even if, you're not able to practice with people, I found that what helped for me was I'd get like a soft toy or something, like a teddy or something, put there. It sounds a bit weird, but then
you have something to focus on.
And this is a family friend, actually, a really close family friend, taught me this technique. And I was really very grateful for it because I did a lot of sort of interview practice with them. And then I was able to, in the times where I couldn't practice with people, I just practiced with, things like that. You record yourself, you listen back, see where it is working. And just really reflect on what's going wrong and then just try and fix it. I think that's the main thing. You just have to recognize where your weaknesses are and then just acknowledge them and then just try and tackle them as best as you can. And I think that's the gist of interviews, really.
Of the kind of interviews, which one did you have specifically at Edinburgh? Did you have the panel one with like 4 or 5 different panel members, and was that stage 1? And then did you have the other one where you have different stations?
No, so the interview. So so basically the way the actual getting into the interview works is so you do your UCAT, you send your personal statement, and they base it off that whether you get an interview or not. So once you get an offer for an interview, you're in the interview process now. I don't think there's any multiple stages to interview. So you got the interview, and then after the interview, you decide based on your whole sort of your UCAT, your personal statement, and the interview how well you did. They base on if you get accepted or not.
Right.
And they give you conditions based off that for your studies in 6th year.
Okay.
So Edinburgh was a MMI interview at the time. I think at the time I only had 3 stations.
Okay.
And a group task station. I think Edinburgh's the only one that does the group task station. So we'd work with other interviewees in like a scenario. And so my one was we had to design a room for like a patient with Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And so have to create like a safe, friendly environment for them, things like that. And it's really showcasing about like teamwork and communication, how you interact with your peers and colleagues, which is very important in medicine. It's a vital skill that we see day to day. So it was that. And then we also had typical sort of why medicine. We had a role play station. We had a scenario station. So it was just loads of mini stations like that.
Okay.
It might have changed now. Like they might have added more stations. I'm not quite sure on that. But it's the gist of it's the same. So it's MMI.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you remember how many of you were there? Like, was it you and 4 or 5 others, or was it do you remember approximately?
For the group task?
Yeah,
the group task was 3 of us at the time. So we'd all have to you go in and decide your roles.
Okay.
You try and really showcase to the examiners that you're a good, well-functioning team, and you just feed back to them what you've done and things like that.
So it's not like they're standing there just observing what you're doing?
Oh no, so they are observing the whole time.
Okay.
They are observing. They want to see how you interact.
Okay.
So they'll be observing you the whole time. So it sounds stressful, but if you're just nice to everyone and you're delegating roles well and you're motivating your team, it's a fine station. But Edinburgh has that group task station. So I'd say it's quite a nice one. I think other unis should start maybe using that as well. So it's nice to you speak to your peers. When you walk into an interview, you're quite nervous, quite stressed. I mean, everyone's feeling the stress. So it's nice to interact with your peers, it helps calm you down in a way, and it's very good. Yeah.
But it's also a great insider tip. So if someone is
definitely.
They didn't know, then of course they are
if you didn't know that, then there you go. Get your niceness up.
And if you were to think of your actual medical school application, right? Can you kind of describe maybe in like one word what it was like? Was it like grueling or a roller coaster or anything that's coming to mind?
The application process.
Yeah.
I think I think roller coaster is the best way to put it. It's very chaotic, you know. So many things you just have to, you know, pull in together, and it can be quite overwhelming for someone in sixth year who's not had to, you know, do something like that. It's quite new, it's quite alien to them. You know, you're actively having to find stuff and, you know, put them into like this sort of, it's essentially a portfolio. Exactly. And if you've not been exposed to that in your life ever, it can be quite stressful. So yeah, it really is just about tackling one thing at a time, trying to pull bits in where you can, and then slowly, gradually build up something which can be, you know, used to really showcase what you're made of, and, you know, to prove to someone that you deserve to be here, you deserve to do medicine, and, you know, you have the capability to do it. So yeah.
It was a real mix of like emotions.
Oh, mixed, definitely. Like, I remember my personal statement, I think I had to redraft that 12, 13 times. Like, I'd keep going back, keep getting corrections, and oh, this is bad, I need to change this. I remember just being so disheartened. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. And then eventually, you know, with the right support and guidance, you kind of, and I know, myself, I was in quite a privileged position, I'd say. I'm very grateful on the support and the teachers I had. And again, I'm saying, like, not everyone has the same experience as me. You know, the teachers might not be as supportive in some other schools and things. So it can be harder, but I think all you need is, you know, just to really seek out the right help. And, you know, if you find the right information, if you manage to seek out and really dig deep and find the right help, that can go a long way into you know, boosting your chances, because it also shows a bit of resilience. You know, you overcome sort of like your struggles and hardships that you're facing, and you've actively tried to seek out opportunities, which is what interviewers and stuff love to hear, that, you know, you're actively seeking out opportunities to showcase that, you know, you deserve to be there. Yeah, so definitely.
And did you have any help and support, like from career advice in school, or like from your school itself with your application? Is that who you were sending back your statements to?
Yeah, definitely. So I had a careers advisor, and they were very helpful. I was so grateful, and that's why I was reiterating, like, you know, not everyone gets that. Like, everyone's situation is different. Some schools may not have, you know, as such a good careers advice, maybe due to like you know, there's maybe too many students, could be stress, could be, you know, socioeconomic factors, could be so many things. So it's really just, you know, if that advice is not there, if you feel like you're not getting that help, just seek out, you know, just try however you can to seek opportunities out. Go online, go on, you know, groups, social media, send emails out to people you may think that might help you, because I think, yeah, if you get help is very important. Medicine is not a course where you can just go at it solo. Like, we need help. It's quite a common misconception, actually, that, you know, you're by yourself and everyone's out to get you in medicine, everyone's against you. They're not. It's a very collaborative environment. No one wants to see anyone else falling down or falling behind. It's a very uplifting environment. And there's you know, medics understand medics, is a saying that we have. And it's true, you know, we understand what each other goes through and the stresses that we have to deal with. Even in the application, you know, a med student, we understand the stresses of UCAT and interviews. So getting help is, when you require it, is very crucial. And there's no like shame or embarrassment or nothing like that in it. So yeah, definitely.
So we've just heard about the inspirations for Bharath and what inspired him to come into the medicine journey. And he kind of finished up very nicely about UCAT and his personal journey. So this brings us to the end of this episode, and in the next episode, we're going to delve a bit more into the details of the actual application process and what he underwent with that. Until then, goodbye.